and welcome to Vsb Tv 11 News. I'm Selena Mead with the news on this Monday, March the 3rd. At the top of tonight's news, in order to help it cut its budget by 7%, which is the equivalent of almost $18 million, the Ministry of Health will be reducing subsidies that are currently being paid to such pension plans as HIP and Future Care by 10%. But as Health Minister Trevor Monis told Parliament today, there is some increased funding which will help balance the matters.
What we've done for the two of the government schemes, the hospital insurance plan, which is a basic plan that people can opt into or out of at any time, we have increased the amount of money that that plan receives from the Mutual Reinsurance Fund, the MRF. And the Mutual Reinsurance Fund is a fund that everyone pays into who is insured. So that fund is now in a positive state, so we'll be able to increase what is paid into that, and basically it's going to be an amount of, I think, $28 per person per month to HIP and to Future Care. So in aggregate, there's going to be a much bigger amount going to HIP and Future Care from the MRF in order to moderate the effect of these changes in subsidy and portability. Portability refers to when people can get treatment outside of Bermuda. So we've tried to moderate any increase in premiums for HIP and Future Care. Not to say there won't be increases, but they'll be moderated by that change.
But you did mention that lovely story about the twins, but they were uninsured, the parents, so the government stepped in and the public paid their way.
Well, that's right. There are many cases in which the government is paying, and that means the taxpayer is paying. So in the case of the twins, there was a charge that government paid of over $500,000, which goes on to all of the taxpayers. So there are large expenses which have to be covered. So it's a challenge. Another thing that we've done is we've increased the amount of money which the government grants to the LCCA, which they then loan to people for overseas care. Originally the LCCA had a grant of $3 million per year, and under the previous administration it was reduced from 3 to 2 and then to $1 million per year. We've increased it back up to 3.
One young man was admitted to the intensive care unit this past weekend after the motorcycle he was driving collided with an ambulance. First responders were dispatched to the collision that occurred at around 4 a.m. this past Saturday on Middle Road. It appears an ambulance was being driven along Middle Road and a motorcycle was being driven along the same road when the two vehicles collided. The motorcyclist was a 19-year-old man, and he was taken to the King Edward Memorial Hospital via ambulance. Currently, the victim is in stable condition in the intensive care unit. There were no other injuries reported, however, both vehicles were damaged. Inquiries into this collision are ongoing, and any witnesses are encouraged to contact PC Lisa Stovall at the Somerset Police Station at 234-1010. In other news, 14 months after the OBA gave the election promise that it would close down overseas offices in London and Washington if elected, Premier Craig Cananeer is telling Parliament that his party has had changed its approach after seeing both offices start demonstrating their potential under OBA direction.
The Washington office, I felt very much concerned when I had gone to Washington that it was not operating as efficient as it could and as effective as it could. The context that we had, if we look back, you will see that we had two foreign consultants in addition to having the Washington D.C. office, and I thought that was a bit extreme. We did cut back on one of those foreign consultants for the office, but we also looked at the Washington office to see exactly what was it performing, what was it doing, and it really wasn't performing to the task that we believe it should. It should be getting more involved in treaties and the likes of international businesses and those kinds of things, and it wasn't happening. And so now we've put more of an effort to exemplify that.
In the past 14 months, what's it achieved? A lot?
Yeah, well, you know what, the director that was there retired, so then we had to reorganize. It gave us an opportunity to really look at the facility, reorganize, and start reshaping what it is that we want the office to do.
But Shadow Finance Minister David Burt was having none of it, nor was he happy to see the Public Access to Information, or PATI, legislation put back again.
That the One Bermuda Alliance has realized that their pre-election rhetoric was just that, rhetoric. Before they said they would get rid of the Washington, D.C. office, get rid of the London office, and now all of a sudden we hear the Premier today saying that the London office and the Washington, D.C. office are great things that the country needs and is going to use more effectively. That's fine. We knew that all along. That's the reason why they were established. But we would have been a lot better as a country if they hadn't, if the opposition at the time, the United Bermuda Party and then the One Bermuda Alliance, didn't fight those things, and we moved forward and worked together. So I think it's a perfect example of the opposition, or now the government, attacking things and now having to do the same things to support them when they're now here. What I thought was very interesting, however, in the budget presentation from the Premier today is that in 14 months the government has not moved anything forward with the Public Access to Information Initiative. Now this is something the government spoke about insofar as that they want to increase transparency, but we've seen that, you know, there's been a lack of transparency on behalf of the government in many things, and now we've seen that the Public Access to Information, which is something that was brought in by the PLP, has not been pushed forward and made active under the One Bermuda Alliance.
In the courts today, a 25-year-old British woman who was in Bermuda on a work permit appeared in the Supreme Court arraignment session this morning and pleaded guilty to causing grievously bodily harm to another woman on New Year's Eve. In a separate matter, 2 men also entered pleas in relation to charges of murder. VSB's Julia Smatt has more details.
Natalie Simpson appeared in Supreme Court and admitted to assaulting Alexandra Wheatley at a New Year's Eve party that took place at Pier 6. The charges stem from an incident that came about after Simpson approached the victim at the party. The victim was said to have been talking to a male, which prompted Simpson to ask, "Why are you talking to him?" and proceed to assault Wheatley. The victim had to be taken to King Edward Memorial Hospital, and reconstructive facial surgery had to be performed immediately upon her arrival. A social inquiry report was ordered and the case was adjourned until April 1st. Simpson remains on bail until her next court appearance. In other matters, 2 men charged with murder also appeared at this month's arraignment session. 34-year-old Walde Gardner and 29-year-old Rakai Dickinson pleaded not guilty to murdering George Lynch. Mr. Lynch was gunned down while he was outside of his home in May of 2010. The 2 men will reappear in court at a later date. I'm Julia Smatt, reporting for VSB News.
Thank you, Julia. And when we come back, car distributor shocks the industry by offering a 5-year warranty program.
Hi, I'm Dr. Oz, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Bermuda Heart Foundation on the founding of the first dedicated cardiac prevention and rehabilitation center in Bermuda. The foundation's goal is to raise the level of awareness of heart disease, which is the #1 cause of death in Bermuda. Our physicians will work with the Bermuda Heart Foundation in training local medical personnel at the foundation. Again, congratulations to the Bermuda Heart Foundation for taking a firm stance in the fight against heart disease.
Copyfax is Bermuda's authorized Samsung dealer. See a large range of Samsung color and black and white multifunctional machines, printers, scanners, faxes, and copiers, and all networkable. Copyfax has Samsung machines suitable for home, office, or any size business in an A4 format, taking up less room than other similar equipment. And replacement supplies are in stock for all of their Samsung products. Affordable shopping at Copyfax Limited, where service comes first.
Bermuda is an easy way to find great discounts while discovering fun activities to do in Bermuda.
Discover the best spas, restaurants, activities, services, and shops at 50% off.
Sign up to Bermuda and start saving today.
And welcome back to VSB TV 11. Cell phone users wishing to change their current provider without losing numbers have another option. It's called number portability, and Digicel CEO Wayne Kane speaks of the benefits of this service.
Number portability allows a person to take their number with them and join another service provider. Most people have been tethered to their number for a number of years. Number portability allows them to move to a new cellular phone provider and keep their existing number.
How does this impact on the charges of calls?
It doesn't impact on the charges at all. As a matter of fact, when a person comes to Digicel or is interested in coming to Digicel, we will walk them through every element and the easy part about leaving their current provider and becoming a Digicel customer. This is beneficial in a number of instances. Number one, if a caller wants to come and bring their family over, but they don't want to lose their numbers, they're able to come to Digicel and be able to have everybody under one plan, under one cellular provider.
The best thing about this offer is that the mobile phone is not tied to a mobile contract. So it's great for the person who wants to stay on trend and get a new device at any time. The waiting is over. Since it's not tied to a mobile contract, there are no termination fees. Should you wish to leave Digicel postpaid service, you simply pay off the device if there is an outstanding balance.
Over the last 3 to 6 months, Digicel has been preparing for local number portability. Our customer service agents are ready. Our corporate teams are ready. We're excited to bring number portability to Bermuda. We have the opportunity for customers that would like to port their numbers from another provider and bring them to Digicel. We will make sure that their process happens seamlessly.
Well, there'll be a battle for who will be declared the champion auto distributor of Bermuda in 2014. The position claimed by Bermuda Motors in 2013 has been joined. Second place Auto Solutions has thrown out the gauntlet by introducing a 5-year, 100,000-kilometer warranty program for anyone who has bought a Hyundai since May 2013 and thrown in an in-house rust-proofing service. To support the recent developments and growth of the company, Auto Solutions has also hired 6 new staff members over the past 6 months. Managing Director Glenn Smith says the new offering is a testament to Hyundai's reputation in the Bermuda marketplace for strength and reliability minus an expensive price tag. The new investment group behind Capital G Bank is demonstrating increasing interest in expanding its business domestically and internationally. Today, Clarion Group Limited announced the appointment of industry veteran Paul Finn as Executive Vice President responsible for the leadership of the bank's wealth management division. He will be based in Bermuda and report directly to Zoran Fotak, Co-Chief Executive Officer of Capital G Bank Limited. Mr. Finn is a senior wealth management executive with a corporate finance background, which includes working at BNY, Mellon Coots & Co., and JP Morgan, Inc. He has also held key leadership positions in New York, London, Switzerland, Hong Kong, and Brazil, as well as the Middle East. Now let's take a look at the daily markets presented by Bias. Here are the daily markets presented by Bias. There was a global sell of equities today as investors sought havens on concern that Russia's military presence in Ukraine could lead to a larger conflict. U.S. stocks sank the most in a month. The S&P 500 fell 0.74% to close at 1,846. Today's drop was the biggest since February 3rd. The Nasdaq lost 0.72% to close at 4,277. 37,305 shares of Bank of Butterfield traded hands at a price of $1.97 per share, a drop of 1.01%. Other Bermuda equities were in line with other markets, closing at losses. European stocks plunged the most in more than a month, after reaching a 6-year high last week as investors fear that escalating tensions in Ukraine will hurt corporate earnings. The DAX dropped 3.44%, its biggest drop since November 2011. Asian stocks fell amid escalating tensions in Ukraine. The Nikkei 225 lost 1.27% to close at 14,652, and the Hang Seng lost 1.47% to close at 2,250. The Latin American indices were mainly in line with the U.S. and Europe. Brazil's Bovespa closed at 47,094, a drop of 1.08%, while the Chile IGPA lost 1.28% to close at 18,109. Government bonds rose around the world as investors fled to safety amid the tensions in the Ukraine. Yields on German 10-year bonds fell 7 basis points to 1.55%, while UK 10-year gilt dropped 7 basis points to 2.64%. Yen increases to its strongest level in almost a month against the dollar as investors seek haven assets. The yen climbed against all of its 16 major peers. It climbed 0.4% to 101.38 per dollar and added 0.9% to 139.2 per euro. That was the Daily Markets presented by Bias. There's more news after the break.
In order to stay diabetes-free, it is highly recommended that we walk 10,000 steps per day. One way to get those steps is to walk on our beautiful beaches or around one of the island's parks. Doing this daily will help protect you from diabetes. So pick up a pedometer and start living a healthy life with daily exercise. Because truth is, anyone can get diabetes, and every 10 seconds somebody dies from diabetes-related causes.
With Cell One, you simply get more. More 4G speed and reliability across the island. More warranty coverage from the only carrier authorized to resell Apple iPhones in Bermuda. More first-class service with our 24/7 customer care, whether you're in-store, on the phone, or online. More services, mobile phones, long distance, and home internet, all with one company. Get more with one. Cell One.
Do you know your rights as a consumer? Visit the Consumer Affairs website to find out how to hire a contractor, how to buy and maintain your vehicle, information on buying second-hand goods, tips for seniors and teens, personal finance tips, product recall information, to file a complaint with Consumer Affairs. For the latest consumer news and much more, visit ca.gov.bm.
Up next is People and Places with Charles Webb.
People and Places with Charles Webb is brought to you by Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
I'm here at Symbiosis on No. 1 Walkington Lane, which is the home of Thomas and Rhonda Smith Simmons. The unique thing about this home was that Edwin Skinner, a Bermudian, used it to teach young boys. Replete with a vibrant art collection and nestled in a half-acre of landscape grounds, Symbiosis in 1944 was the Howard Academy, where Edwin Skinner, a white Bermudian, educated young black boys, the likes of former Premier Sir John Swan, Cabinet Secretary Kenneth Richardson, educator and sports executive Donald Dick Dane, and union leader Archibald Simmons, just to name a few.
Mr. Skinner apparently used the living room, the dining room, and his front porch as overflow for his school.
This must be one of the longest porches I've seen on a house that's not that big.
It's interesting that I'm not sure whether the original builders designed it that way to think it was going to be eventually a schoolroom, but I also understand that this area was also used for teaching as well. I would imagine you had two classes because of the size of the porch compared to the size of the internal rooms, and perhaps in the summertime when it was warm, you went outside. When it rained, you came inside.
Now this house has such a history. Do you keep any memorabilia of it?
I have nothing. It's really something which has only come to my knowledge in the last few years. And I've received nothing, but quite frankly, as time goes by, if I find anything with regard to the history of the house, I'd like to keep it if I can find it.
Now, when you bought this house, there was no evidence that it was once a school, was there?
None whatsoever. It looked like a derelict old cottage.
The dining room was also a classroom.
Yeah. By today's standards, this is a very, very small dining room, but this was the original dining room for the house, and it was also used as an additional, an extension for his classes. I'm not sure how he separated his classes, but this was another one of the rooms that he used. From what I understand, the great-grandmother of one of the Dills lived here, because this is one of the first concrete block houses in Bermuda. So this is a concrete block house, it's not Bermuda stone. And evidence of it, I can show you the evidence of it here on the walls on the outside. But I understand it is part of the Dill estate at one time.
Now the name Symbiosis, how did you come up with that name, and does it have any relationship to the old Howard Academy?
No relationship to the old Howard Academy, but symbiosis is when two organisms work together. They're stronger than themselves by themselves. and it was a name which I thought of, my wife and I thought of when we first saw the house. We thought if we worked together, we're certainly a lot stronger organism than if we work separately on an individual basis.
So without knowing it, you actually carried on something that was connected with the school?
I would think so, without knowing it.
When you come into your home, do you ever think of the people of today who are actually educated here? Does that ever come to mind?
I'm a very, very strong proponent of education. It doesn't matter where it comes from. And what makes it really, really interesting is to think that from such a humble location, you can have people of prominence, certainly here in Bermuda, who've come out of this type of environment. Not necessarily from an Ivy League school, but from a simple little home.
And I guess it follows that a man of prominence like yourself lives in this home.
Oh, very much so. This is certainly my home and my castle and my entertainment area. If you're actually looking at the whole room itself, this is now the renovated living room in its entirety. But this marking here actually separates the original living room from the original master bedroom.
The home of Howard Academy was to educate young men, but now it's an art-filled residence enjoyed by its present owners. With Thomas Simmons, the owner of Symbiosis, for People and Places, I'm Charles Webb, Vsb News.
People and Places with Charles Webb has been brought to you by Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
It's our fantastic February savings event going on now. We have something for every room of your home and incredible savings all month long. Browse around our site to find exactly what you're looking for. New styles, new colors, a new look for your home. We have a huge selection of beautiful furniture and amazing prices that won't last long. So stop in today. You won't want to miss our fantastic February savings event going on now.
Welcome back. In sports tonight, the Dandytown Hornets has a 3-point lead over second-place North Village Rams, while Hamilton Parish Hot Peppers jump into 6th place and avoid relegation. The Hornets slammed 8th-place Rangers 4-1. St. David's moved out of the cellar with their second victory over bottom club Wolves. North Village defeated PHC 3-1. Parish edged defending champions Devonshire Cougars 1-0. And we spoke with the Hot Peppers head coach, Keyshawn Smith.
Cougars are the defending champions. Yeah, hats off to Dennis Braun and them guys. Yeah, I personally have learned a lot from Dennis Braun this season, working with me in the under-23, so I know what he's about. Cougars came at it, the defending champions. They tried to go for the win, and for us, being a young team, you know, getting the early goal, we knew that we had to defend well today. And I told my team that if we can put a good defensive effort in against Cougars today, then we may just be fortunate, yeah, to get a shutout against Cougars. Hats off to the defense, the team as a whole, Nigel Burgess, the whole Hamilton Parish community, but it was a good team effort today. Yeah.
You moved from 19 to 22 points. You're clear now.
Clear, yes. I'm happy with that, but I'm not satisfied. Yeah. We still got 2 games left. You know, we want to get a modern spot for next year so that we could keep growing and keep moving forward like what we've been doing all this season. Lessons have been getting learned. We're learning them real fast, and we have no problem with the big teams. We get up for the big teams. Now that we're starting to figure out how to beat the teams around us, for us, with our junior programs, the work that them guys are doing, the program, the future for us looks real great. I'd like to take my hats off to Ernest Lathan, Joe, my assistant, because it's been down there, we've been down there for the last 3 years with this vision, and now to see it come through, the hard work coming through, is definitely rewarding.
Yeah. No Donovan Thompson, no Ian Coke. I saw Henzi, the skipper, was out today, but he was limping. Yeah. And I even saw the Ajaman. Yeah. He looked like he was hurting too, but they hung in there.
It's been a long race, and actually, in fact, you know, I was in between minds of maybe even putting on my boots today, as I actually have them on. But you know, we have a deep squad. 2 guys all year. You know, you never know when your chance is going to come. Case in point, young man Anthony Smith, we call him Titus. He's had an excellent game the last 2 weeks. So, you know, everybody has to pitch in and pull their weight in order for a team to have success. They don't rely on a couple of maybe well-known individuals. They rely on a complete team squad, and that's what we have. And I'm glad and proud to be a part of this organization.
That should do it. Enjoy your new shower.
Experience the bold look of Kohler at a Kohler registered showroom.
Choose to be healthy, Bermuda. Get out there and exercise with a sunscreen, hat, and shirt on every day. Eat healthy, don't smoke, and check your brown spots once a month to detect skin cancer early. Anything growing darker, bigger, jagged borders needs to be checked. Wear your sunscreen, hat, and shirt every day. Be sun safe, Bermuda.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend, and welcome to tonight's VSB weather forecast. Our weather shot is brought to you by Paul Slaughter, taken at 7:56 this morning, overlooking Hamilton Harbor. Absolutely beautiful morning, not a cloud in the sky, calm waters. But what makes this picture interesting is this little line of mist over Harbor Road right here. Thank you, Paul, for sending in this wonderful shot that kicked off quite a nice day today. Temperatures for today, we had a high of 69 at 1 in the afternoon and a low of 60 at 4 in the morning. Current conditions, 67 degrees, humidity 70%, winds west-southwest 10 to 15 knots, and barometric pressure is unsteady at 30.10 inches. Rainfall index for the month of March, nothing yet, for a yearly total of 15.31. Yearly norm of this time is 5 inches drier at 10.74 inches. And looking at the satellite, high pressure slowly moves off to the northeast tonight. Winds increase briefly overnight as a front approaches from the north and stalls. Look for occasional showers Tuesday evening through Thursday. Expect winds to increase to strong and rain and showers to develop Friday ahead of a strong frontal system. And if you're traveling, Atlanta mostly cloudy 49, Boston partly cloudy 27, Charlotte partly cloudy and 45, London 50 and rain, Miami 84, partly cloudy, New York 28 and partly cloudy, Orlando mostly cloudy and 80, Philadelphia partly cloudy and 28, Toronto light snow 18, and Washington 28 and partly cloudy. And back at home tonight, mostly cloudy, becoming partly cloudy with a low near 63, winds southwest 10 to 15 knots, and then gradually increasing to 15 to 20 knots. Tomorrow, increasing clouds with 1 or 2 showers in the evening with a high near 70, winds west-southwest 18 to 22 knots, then decreasing to 14 to 18 knots by late morning. Marine tonight, we've got a small craft warning with seas inside the reef 1 to 2 feet, seas outside the reef 4 to 7 feet, and the sea surface temperature is 70 degrees. Marine tomorrow, small craft warning through the morning with seas inside the reef 0 to 2 feet, seas outside the reef 5 to 8 feet, high tide will be at 10:30 in the morning and low tide will be at 4:27 in the afternoon. And looking at the 5-day forecast, Wednesday, mostly cloudy with occasional showers, windy with a high near 69. Thursday, sunny breaks with a few showers, windy with a high near 67. Friday, mostly cloudy with rain or showers, windy, high near 71. And Saturday, mostly cloudy with showers with a high near 70. Thank you to Jeremy Entwistle, our meteorologist for tonight, and everyone at the Bermuda Weather Service. I'm Rachel Sodden. Have a great evening.
And we'd like to thank you for choosing to spend your evening with us at VSB TV 11. Good night, Bermuda.
Wardrobe and makeup for Rachel Sodden, provided by Gibbons Company.
VSB TV 11, Bermuda.